Hello, welcome back to Chat About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke is crowned by my haters. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel already. And if you haven't, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. It'd be great if you could join me. Okay, so we have another Doctor Who video today. There has been a lot of Doctor Who news recently, and as you know, it is a big place in my heart, so I will be covering it. Once the series is over, we'll get back to some of the other things that I cover on the channel. I haven't yet received the consolidation figures for Boom at this time of recording, which is 12 on Bank Holiday Monday. If the figures arrive anywhere else in this time, I will record a video for tomorrow. Now, an article has been published about 73 yards, and the reason why I'm making a video on this is because, in my opinion, if you're actually having to explain something to your fans, then something is wrong within the writing itself here. Now, that's just my opinion. Now, for me personally, I thought the 73 yards was okay. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst, certainly the best of the series so far, and pretty much did everything that Boom needed to do in this episode. And I did notice on Twitter when I went to do my review of the 73 yards, when I was looking at tweets and all of that, that people were confused about the ending and what actually was happening. And I think for new Who viewers in particular, this is something that should have really been explained. I know people don't really like being spoon-fed, but I do think it should have been explained because they're new to New Who, so they may not understand paradoxes, time loops, and things like that, and how commonly it can be used in Doctor Who. I actually do agree. I feel like this should have been explained in the episode, so that really something like the Radio Times, who is currently trying to back up everything that Doctor Who is doing, is releasing an article like this. This shouldn't need doing. Doctor Who, 73 yards, ending explained. Who is the woman? Okay, warning, spoilers ahead for Doctor Who, season 14, episode 73 yards. As we reach the halfway point in Doctor Who season 14, the show's most mysterious episode in some time has now aired, which fans currently trying to wrap their minds around the ending of 73 yards. The new episode delves into Welsh folk horror with the Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa, and Millie Gibson, Ruby Sunday, arriving on the coast in the TARDIS. But quickly after the Doctor steps into a fairy circle, Ruby sees a mysterious figure watching her from a distance, and the Doctor disappears. The rest of the episode sees Ruby left on her own, but how does she find out what the woman in the distance wants and who she is? Read on for everything you need to know about the ending to Doctor Who's 73 yards. Buckle in. By the end of the episode, it is revealed that the woman in the distance is an older version of Ruby. Early in the episode, the Doctor disappears and Ruby is left to her own devices. She leaves to go back home with not only her mother, Carla Sunday, but also the head of unit, Kate Stewart, or as in the episode, she says Kate Lethbridge Stewart, which she doesn't normally introduce herself as, abandoning her. We see Ruby at different stages in her life, all with the woman still following her, staying 73 yards away at all times. A pivotal scene then takes place in a hospital. And actually, this was one of my favorite bits. When Ruby is an old woman, the woman in the distance appears in the room right in front of Ruby. As they see each other, we're transported to the cliff top where the Doctor and Ruby stepped out of the TARDIS. But this time, we see things from the woman's perspective. Watching Ruby, the woman comments on how young she was, making it clear that all along the woman has been an older version of Ruby, which I'd already worked out by that point. This time, Ruby manages to stop the Doctor from breaking the fairy circle. He doesn't disappear, and everything is set right. The older version of Ruby now disappears, with the younger Ruby seeming to not remember anything except the idea that she visited Wales a third time, which she then went on to say, well, maybe that them landing there was her third time. Russell T Davies went some way to explaining this ending when speaking in a behind-the-scenes video on the Doctor Who YouTube channel. He said, of the episode's plot, something profane has happened with the disturbance of that fairy circle. There's been a lack of respect. The Doctor, who's very respectful of alien creatures and alien life forms and alien mythologies, he's just walked through something very, very powerful. So something has gone wrong and something has just corrected. That sounds so annoyingly contradictory because the doctor wasn't looking at the ground. So why would he just sort of step around it? You would accidentally walk on it. I understand that, even though that's incredibly clumsy of the doctor and not really footing of the doctor, I guess you could say. It's like Ruby had to spend a life of penitence in which she eventually does something good, which brings the whole thing full circle, which kind of forgives them in the end. The significance of 73 yards. Okay, what is it? This one is quite a logical answer. From what showrunner RTD has said, it seems that 73 yards is the perfect distance to be able to see the figure in the distance, but not see any distinguishing features. It also had to be shorter than the length of a football pitch for the scene with Roger William. To what Davies said on Unleashed, it's 73 yards simply because when I was writing this, I have no idea about distance. So to get distance, I went out to Swansea Pier. And on Swansea Pier, the railings are 3.5 feet long, so I could measure. I stood on Swansea Pier until I could stare just at people passing by until a woman was eventually about 73 yards away. And I thought, that's the right distance. She's a blur, but she's not a blur. I can just about see her. And I handed the script in saying it's not exactly a very scientific method. I think it's right. It might be 90, it might be 60. Turns out I was right. My scientific methods using railings on Swansea Pier were exactly right. And we've stuck with 73 yards. During the episode, Unit's Kate Stewart also rejects her after an interaction with the woman. When Carla attempts to call Ruby while speaking to the woman, Ruby is able to unhear what she is saying. Our theory is that she said anything she needed in order to ensure that younger version of Ruby stayed on her own to keep her on the right path to one day go back in time and complete the loop. It seems that theories are best. We will do it on this question as well, as RTD said on Doctor Who Unleashed, that he never intends to reveal what the woman was saying. So the thing about that is, if you don't intend to say it, you either don't know or you just can't be bothered to put it into the episode. A bit of lazy writing. So it would seem that the plot is so ambiguous. And as this person has said, it felt disconnected from the overarching storyline. But here's the thing. Listen to the sound in these two scenes. One from the Ruby Road flashback from Space Babies, the other scenes from 73 Yards. The same sound effects play in both scenes. So it is that ambiguous that people are trying to make connections because they have nothing else to grip onto here. Let's have a listen. So there you go. Now, I have actually theorized that the person in this hood is older Ruby or Ruby. I have theorized that on the Sense Sphere and on this channel. But that says a lot about what's going on with the 73 yards. If we're having to pull from thin air like that over sound effects, that could be just coincidental. And news outlets like the Radio Times are having to explain the plot to people. What is going on? Now, of course, like I said, if you like the 73 yards, you are 100% allowed to like it. That is absolutely fine. I thought it was okay. And you're also allowed to hate it. That is also absolutely fine. I think people forget this, and it doesn't lead to fair debate and fair discussion about things. It leads to people saying, well, if you don't like it, don't watch. And then for the other side, it's just that all one-sided opinion. There's no discussion. I find that happens quite a lot. We can discuss this together, the reasons why we like it and the reasons why we don't. But the fact that something needs to be explained in detail like that, and then the Radio Times is also hypothesizing something, it's good to leave us guessing, absolutely. And it's good to leave us asking questions about things, but how many questions do you need to ask about a plot? There are so many questions. Let me know what you think. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, switch on the notification bells, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.